All right, everybody, welcome back to the KSR YouTube channel. And yeah, we're getting ready for sick week, right, Will? Sick week.
Sick week.
We're gonna make it.
Yeah, somehow.
Somehow.
Some miracle.
Somehow, some way, we're gonna make it. But it's early on Thursday, I think it is. Thursday? Today, Thursday?
Today's Thursday.
Okay, Thursday. All the days are blending together. But Eddie's welding something and making a lot of noise over there.
Sorry.
Working on the back of the fuel filler on the back of Grant's Corvette. Will and I are thrashing on that. And supposedly, a really big box just got here. You guys already saw the thumbnail, so I think Will's excited.
I'm excited.
Let's, hopefully the freight company didn't tear the box up, but let's get outside and see what we got. Borrow the forklift. I am 100% certified forklift driver. We're gonna make it work. Yeah. Let's see here. Get my pump. Just leave it right here.
Yeah. You want to put it on dollies?
What's easiest to get it off the thing, you think? Like to get it, I mean, I guess we could put it on those. We just gotta, yeah. Like this thing doesn't have any tilt, so. Alright, get the dollies under and then I don't know if it'll come off though, because this thing doesn't have any tilt to it.
Well, we could probably wiggle it.
Yeah. Good on both sides?
Over here. Oh yeah.
Yay. A new engine. We ready?
Yeah. No. Go back up. Alright.
Yeah, see, I think I'm bound up on. Sweet. All right, let me go return this, and then we will crack open that pallet. Had to borrow. No, you're not opening it up while I'm gone. Dang it. All right, so I got to go take this back because I borrowed it from my neighbors, kind of without them knowing about it. So before they call the cops on me, we'll take it back. All right, here's my neighbor's place. Check out these boats they're building. Like super huge boats. All their mold, they used to do everything from the molds all the way to the finished boat. And I like boats too. In fact, you're gonna see a video here eventually with my dad's boat, because it's kind of cool. Anyways, let's go check out the engine. Just standing around waiting?
Yep.
Figures.
Kind of felt like
All right.
Ready?
Let's see what's in the box.
It's another box.
Another box. Oh, they sent oil. Sweet.
Oh, they told us how to make it work.
Spray can procedure.
Sweet.
Install it and go make wide open throttle full boost runs on the dyno.
That's what it says. I don't know why I got such a long thing to say that.
All right, everybody. So we have joined the Texas Speed family. And this is not a 427 LS. We didn't go that route. We have gone the route of a 388 cubic inch LS based engine. So it is a large bore, but still the same stroke that was in our 5.3.
3.62.
3.625. At least, no, actually, this is a factory crank, so this is 3.622. So what this thing uses is a 3.622 factory LT crankshaft. This is something, it's kind of a new thing as far as like, what's the right word for it? It's not an aftermarket crankshaft, but it's a really, really good forged crank, and with the shorter stroke, should have no problems living up to the approximately 2,000 horsepower that we are going to try to make with this engine. So, it's got push rods in it. So it's got TRC 247cc heads. These ports are definitely a little bigger than our current ones. So there's probably some things that are gonna get reused for now. So we also have a Texas Speed intake for this thing, but I have to drill it and do the second set of injectors. And I actually got the intake a week ago, or a week and a half ago, but I was recovering from my surgery, so I didn't have the time to go ahead and finish that. So to begin with, we may just have to run our old intake on it. It already has the dual fuel. That saves us about a day of work. So,
Seems we only got 2 days.
seems we only got 2 days, and like, yeah. But, so, well, that gives you something to do, Mr. Will. See, we need a valley cover. We've got to get the front cover off and put our front cover on. We've got to put our balancer on. It's crunch time. So I'm gonna set up the camera, time-lapsing, and we are gonna keep cranking because we need to get this in and get it on the dyno, like now. All right, well, as you have seen in the time lapse, we have been cranking away on getting things ready. I had to take this back off because these holes are where our mandrel drive attached to the hub. So the hub is tapped 3/8, but this is designed to have an AC pulley bolted to the back of it. But we're not using no air conditioning. But the way they set it up is these holes are tapped 3/8, so the bolts go all the way through to catch the back of the pulley. So just had to drill those out. That's why that went on and then came back off again. Got to put our balancer bolt in. Got to torque all of these. I need to take the rockers off, number one, because we're going to find out where top dead center is. That's something that really everybody should be doing that has an aftermarket ECU, to verify that your timing is physically the same in the engine as what the computer thinks it is. Because if you've got a mismatch there, you could be in bad shape. You could have way more timing or way less timing in the engine than you think you have, and you can hurt the engine being either side of that, or you can hurt the engine just by tuning it poorly. But we're going to try to avoid that. We do have to grind this plug off or cut a hole in our engine plate, but there's a welded piece right here for where our fuel pump drive comes off. It's somewhere in this area, so we're probably going to put the valve covers on, get the oil pan on, set it on the ground, and then just go at this with the grinder. And that should solve that problem. What else have we got to do? Obviously, we got to pull the other one out. So we're going to snatch the mock-up block out. And then this thing can go in after we do the top dead center thing. So that's exciting. We got our Circle D billet flex plate on it. Pretty happy with that. And Will got the top cover on and drilled and tapped for our oil pressure sender that is right there. Look at the size of those ports. They're so much bigger than our other ones. Now, unfortunately, if we use our old intake, it's not going to be port matched. I don't have the time, because if I was going to port match it, I would just try and get the other intake made. But I know doing that other intake is doing the other injectors, adding the injectors is at least a 5-hour project, and that would require us to completely remake the fuel lines, at least where they are in the engine bay, which is the entire race fuel system. But then also we would be in trouble with the injectors that are now going to be under the intake manifold, because the Texas Speed intake has such a short runner. The injectors that are under the intake manifold are a different plug, so then we would have to make a new street injector harness, and we don't have time to do that. So literally, to get the intake on, it's probably an 8 to 10 hour project, and we can just drop our other intake on, and we'll do another episode later where we swap the Texas Speed intake onto the thing and probably re-dyno it, maybe, we'll see. But kind of making some compromises to get to this event. But you guys all know this is a Texas Speed 388. There's gonna be some stickers on the car. Hopefully they get here and they're not held up in shipping like the engine was. So, on the engine was stuck in Texas. Due to the ice storm, we were panicking that we weren't gonna get it. Spencer, with the Camaro we're building, offered us his 427 that's sitting over there. So we always kind of had a backup plan, but I'm not a big fan of borrowing other people's stuff, because even we would obviously make our best effort to not damage it, but race car things happen. Sometimes things just break, and it is no fault of any person. Sometimes parts just break. And if we were to damage that, we would feel responsible and need to repair that back to how it was before we damaged it. So it's a really good thing that this showed up. And what Texas Speed did is they called a courier service, and a guy with a Sprinter van went and picked this thing up from the freight hub, from the shipping company that we don't want to talk about. And he drove it straight here. So he picked it up yesterday, like not even 24 hours ago, and it's here. And it's about to go in the car, right, Will?
Yes, sir.
Woo!
Working on it.
So a little bit more to do before we can put that in there. I'll put you back on a time lapse, and I've got to go get today's video posted, and then this video will be coming out when you actually see it. So I'm actually about to go post yesterday's video, and then you guys will see this video today. Back to work. Alrighty, well, the engine is about ready to go in. I think Will's gonna bolt the intake to it. Just gonna run our old intake because we both agree we're running out of time. It is a little after 1:30. I gotta go run out to get my kids at like 1:40. And then I'll be gone until 3:30 because we gotta go do, my kids are at 2 different schools. And then we gotta take one to gymnastics. So, all over the place. I'll be back. I got to go do some driving, but got our flex plate on and torqued, balancers on and torqued. Got our top dead center tool figured out, which you probably saw that in the time lapse where I was turning the engine and we took the rockers off so that the valves would not hit the top dead center tool. And took care of all of that. Had to grind on the headers to clear the head studs a little bit, so not too big of a deal there. But took a little bit extra time because there's always something. And you may have noticed that for both here and the backside, we just use silicone. And that is also the reason why I needed to grind that, you know, that plug off that was right there. There's my alarm to go get my kids. So that's the reason why I had to get in and take care of that, but it's all done. And everything's bolted up flush. Top dead center pointers on there, right? Will has got the billet bolt together circle D converter in here. So that is exciting. It's got my name on it. Look at there, look at there. Yeah, that is exciting stuff. So, like I said, I'm gonna bail out of here, get my kids, and then probably when I come back, it's gonna look a little different. We're hoping to crank today. That's the goal. Oh, and you might have seen too in the time lapse, I had to hammer out the bottom of the oil pan. We only had 1/4 of an inch of clearance from where we had relocated the oil pan with a wheelie. So now I've got 3/8 of an inch of clearance from the oil pump pickup to the pan. Need at least 1/4 inch, preferably 3/8 of an inch on your pickup to oil pan clearance. So I'm glad we figured that out before we put this thing together and took it out and heard it really quick. All right, back in a little bit. All right, well, I'm back from picking up my kids from school, and there's still an engine on the ground. What you guys saw in the time lapse, they went in and they came out. So we have discovered a problem with our transmission that we only knew was a problem because we have a brand new torque converter. So thankfully we have a bolt together torque converter and we were able to take it apart. And basically the splines on our stator tube here are bent. So this starts and stops. And it's supposed to go all the way in and be able to float on that. So it's bent just enough that the converter will not go in all the way, which means I've got to make clearance where there currently is no clearance. Race cars are fun. We got plenty of time for this. Now, why can't I just run one of the old PTC converters? Well, they were already a little on the loose side for the 5.3. This engine is 50 cubic inches larger. The car is now heavier. which is gonna loosen the converter up some more too. So, we gotta make this one work. All right, I'm gonna get to work. I've already been filing on it a little bit by hand, but that didn't get the job done. So now I'm going to do something a little bit more aggressive. Hopefully this works. Well, like I said, I hand filed on it for a little while and was making small improvements, but I decided to go with this method, which is a little bit more aggressive, and that is to use a cutoff wheel and kind of use the cutoff wheel to kind of scrape the high spots, at least at the very end of the bend. I think once I get the last edge, or like that, you know, maybe it's 1/4 of an inch of the front side of the splines, I think once I thin that out a little bit, the stator will slide on, and where it's in the middle, it shouldn't be a problem, and I shouldn't have to grind on that much. But all right, well, I haven't quite gotten it there, and I gotta go because I gotta go pick up my youngest from gymnastics. So it's close. I've gotten it to move 1/8 of an inch in deeper, so I'm getting rid of the bend in the splines, but I don't quite have enough, because once it gets into the spot in the middle, it's gonna be fine, and I don't want to just hammer it in there, even though part of me wants to just hammer it in there, but I can't just hammer it in there. But that's gonna wrap up this video. Thought we were gonna get it to crank, but we didn't quite get there. But tomorrow's video will be real exciting, because we will be cranking it up and taking it for a test drive, one way or another. Even if I gotta call in a favor on a converter from somebody else, or a different pump for the front of the transmission. So appreciate everybody watching and subscribing. We will see you guys tomorrow with a running soccer mom. Let's hope so.